So think about the last time that power went out at your house, right? Maybe it was a storm, maybe it was the snow, maybe it was just for a few minutes. But in those particular moments, you felt it, right? There was no Wi-Fi, the fridge stops working, it's completely dark in the house, right? Now, imagine that was done intentionally by somebody. That's what OT security is all about. And if you've never heard of that term, OT security, that's exactly why I'm making this video. Oh my God. I want this person to win. Anyway, OT stands for Operational Technology. And I know it sounds super technical, but if you stick with me, it's pretty simple. And OT is just the name you give to computers and systems that control physical things in the real world. These things could be like the systems that manage the flow of electricity from a power plant to your neighborhood, the equipment that monitors the pressure in a natural gas pipeline, or like the controls inside a water treatment facility that make sure that the water that you comes out of your tap for the most part is drinkable, or even systems that like are within a manufacturing plant to keep the production line running. These are not like your typical office computers. You can't browse the web or check your emails on them, right? You're essentially keeping these systems running because they control physical things that need to run safely 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's essentially what OT is operational technology. Oh my God. I really do not want OKC to get to the finals. But anyway, back to what we were saying. So, how is OT different from regular IT? At the end of the day, it's still a computer. But here's the thing: when your laptop gets hacked, right? That's bad. You might get your data stolen. But whoever is the administrator on your device can actually remotely wipe that machine, so it's kind of safe for the most part, right? But when an OT system gets compromised, that's the kind of computer that's controlling a power grid or a water treatment plant. So the consequences are not digital, it's physical. So the pipes can burst, chemicals can be released, power goes out for thousands of people, and in some extreme cases, like let's say for instance, you might be going through an operation and the power goes out. That's chaotic. And here's the other thing that makes OT like uniquely challenging is that these systems are never designed with cybersecurity in mind. And I know it's easy to say like, hey, well, it's the 21st century, blah, 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 but you have to understand a lot of OT equipment is old. We're talking about systems that were built 15, 20, something 30 years ago before cloud infrastructure was a thing. So they were not really built to be connected to the internet. So they were really more built to connect to things within the facilities that housed them. So again, cybersecurity was not really on the radar when these devices were being built. But I say all that to say the world has changed. And a lot of these systems are now being connected to the internet and to corporate networks, to the cloud, to remote monitoring tools that they were never built to handle. Let me give you a couple of real world actually examples, and you can Google some of this information. But yeah, in 2021, someone gained access to a water treatment facility in Oldsmar, Florida. They remotely increased the levels of sodium hydroxide. That's a lie. In the water supply to dangerous levels. A plant operator caught it in time, but it was still a close call. Google that. Oh, thank God. Sorry, guys. Also, in 2015 and in 2016, cyber attacks on Ukraine's power grid left hundreds of thousands of people without electricity in the middle of winter. These aren't Hollywood movie scenarios. These are real attacks on real infrastructure that have real consequences for people's everyday. And that's the reason why these attacks are becoming more common in what's called the IT OT convergence, which is really just a fancy way of saying the old isolated OT world and the modern connected IT cloud infrastructure world are merging together. And because of that, that creates new gaps and new vulnerabilities that these facilities didn't really plan for. Now, for me, right, I spent some time working inside critical infrastructure environments, right? Specifically on the security side. And what I saw consistently is that there's always a gap. The people who are running these environments, the engineers, the field service techs, they are brilliant within their own domain and what they do. But again, their systems that they know inside out are not built for cybersecurity. That's a whole different language, and a lot of these organizations are just playing catch up to how these systems are supposed to be secured. And essentially, that's what this series is about: is breaking down what it actually looks like to secure these environments. I do not want to give you like long, drawn out explanations of different acronyms or stuff like that. I just really want to give you practical, real world knowledge that I've amassed from security environments like this. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about zero trust. You've probably heard that term thrown around a lot: zero trust network, zero trust architecture, blah, 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 blah. But what does that actually mean? And more importantly, what does that look like inside of an OT environment? That's coming up next.